Well, there's a story that our family likes to tell, and I wish my brother David was here because I'd like to kind of make fun of him to his face, but he's going to have to watch this online, I guess. But so we have a story that we love to tell. Lewis and I, Lewis is, raise your hand, Lewis. Hey, there he goes. That's my brother-in-law, Lewis. He's 10 years older than me. So when I was 12, he taught me how to shoot, and it was really exciting. And so that was kind of how we bonded, was shooting firearms. And so we went to, when I was 17, we had shot a number of times. So Lewis, by the way, is extremely safety oriented, and everything, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. And so one Christmas, this time we lived in St. Louis, and I lived in California, I believe, and we would always meet down in Texas to celebrate Christmas together in East Texas and Kilgore. So there was an area that was right across, the street from my grandmother's old property, and it was kind of like a dump. It was like, anybody that's been to East Texas, there's like these, it's just a street you go down, there's no signs, no nothing, but that's like the dump area, okay? That was like the dump area. So Lewis brought a bunch of his guns, and we were gonna go shoot. David had never shot before. So to put this in perspective, 5 years later, Lewis had given me like a 3-hour course on gun safety and made me take a written test that he wrote himself in order to pass, in order to shoot. So David got like the crash course, okay? So for those of you that shoot, rule number 1 is, somebody yell it out there. What's rule number 1 of shooting? Don't point the gun at anything you don't want to shoot. It's just rule number 1, okay? So David's like 5 years older than me. He's 22, so he's a man. He's like, you can't tell me really what to do. I'm already a man, So Lewis is going through a spiel, and he's like, here's the rules, and I know how serious Lewis is. Well, David's not really taking things seriously. These are guidelines. So he's got this revolver, and he puts his thumb through the cylinder, so you can't really shoot it. The cylinder can't be closed. It's impossible for the gun to shoot, but that doesn't mean you get to break rule number 1. You never point the gun at anything you're not supposed to shoot, or you're not willing to shoot. So David's talking with this, and he's just, he's like pointing the gun right at my stomach. And Lewis is like, hey, David, he starts kind of yelling at him. And he's, David, what are you doing? You're pointing the gun right at Kennis. And had David said, Lewis, I'm sorry, I apologize, that would have kind of been the end of the story. But David gets in this, like, you really can't tell me what to do, I'm a man thing. And he's like, no, I'm good. I have my finger through the cylinder. And Lewis is like, you're not getting it. You can't point the gun at anybody. He's like, oh no, it's okay. And he keeps on arguing with him. Lewis just goes, go to the car. And David continues to argue. He's like, no, I'm good. I get it now. He's like, go sit in the car. And so Lewis gave him a timeout, man. He's 22 years old. He goes and he sits in the car. And I still, if I'm in a bad mood and I need to laugh at something, I just picture David, because David's got a little bit of a temper. He's got a little bit. So when you cross him, he was just stomping, on the East Texas road, slams the door and just mumbling, his arms crossed. So I just picture him there in that door, in that car, just in the passenger side. So finally, Lewis, after 5 minutes, let him out.